The top 100 golf balls continues right now. We are doing 80 through 71. And what's really cool about this is that now we're at the point where these golf balls, you know, there's not a lot of dog water in here. There's not a lot of dookie. There's a lot of just either A, mediocrity, or B, there's a couple golf balls that do one or two things pretty well, but they're just missing a couple of key ingredients that really ties the whole dish together, if you know what I mean. Let's dive right into 80 through 71 in the top 100 golf balls 2025. As always, if you like this content, please like, comment, subscribe, all the free stuff. We have a membership. It just starts at $1. I've also put the a link in the description to the video where we talk about how these metrics came to be about, what it's graded on, all that good stuff. Yes, thank you everyone who's watching and liking in the comments. It's all been wonderful. My favorite time of the year. These golf balls, like I said, I want to challenge you all to start thinking about what you're truly looking for in a golf ball. Start thinking about your shot type. Do you hit a fade? Do you hit a draw? Are you a high spin player? Are you a low spin player? You know, launch angles. Are you launching too high, low, mid? You know, think about what you want and start looking at some of the golf balls we see today to see if they kind of match what you're looking for. Now, this is just kind of a warm-up. I don't imagine many of the golf balls we're about to mention are going to be your gamer. They could be, but as we get higher on the list, I think you're going to find more options that are great and that might fit it better and be a better overall golf ball. But I want you to start now because I just want those juices flowing. I want you to kind of get used to the idea and get your brain ready to what it takes to choose a golf ball for you. This is going to be a big process as we go out throughout this, and I'll have videos after the fact as well. So at number 80, we have and this is the last Snell ball of the year. You know, two of them didn't even make the top 100, and then the Get Some was really low as well. And the 3.0 isn't much better. It is my favorite out of the entire Snell golf ball lineup, but like I've said before, with the change in factory and everything Snell's gone through, I almost feel like you need to take 2 steps back and try again. I think like maybe you need to move factories, try a different one. If you need to increase the price a little bit, that's fine too. But something's got to change. It's got to be drastic because right now Snell used to be a company that, you know, I viewed as one of the best. And the respect I have for Dean Snell and what he's done for the golf ball world is unmatched. But when 80th is your best golf ball, there needs to be a rework somewhere probably. Let's look at the data. As you can tell, 42nd when it came to 50-yard spin, so not bad. But pitching wedge performance, you know, at distance and ball speed, not great, but it did spin a ton, which that's good. Okay, pitching wedge spin, good. We got a little green in there. 7-iron is pretty mediocre throughout, and it was one of the lowest spinning on the 7-iron. So I got one of the best spinning with the pitching wedge, but one of the lowest spinning with the mid-iron. And then I got one of the highest, actually the 4th highest spin with the driver this year, which is not a good recipe for a lot of you, especially when you don't have much ball speed or distance to go with it. You know, I love the value. I love what they do, but like I said, there's not a lot to hang your hat on there, and it might be time to move on. 79. This one is. I was actually really surprised when I saw the Mizuno Pro X come in this low on the list. I thought it would be much higher toward the top because I did enjoy it. But when you actually look at the numbers, you know, yes, I like the feel. I like what, you know, Mizuno's done. I think they continue to make improvements. But when you actually look at the data and the numbers themselves, not so great. 50-yard spin is top 30, which is phenomenal. Then we get into that pitching wedge. Now, I would actually expect an X model golf ball to act like that. When they're firmer, I usually expect the pitching wedge numbers to not be as good. So that doesn't really bother me. Once we get into the 7-iron, though, 80th and 50th is not where I would like to see it. I'd like to see it just a tad higher. Now, when it came to spin, it had the 4th highest spin. So I think this is a golf ball that has a lot of, you know, just checkup, whether it's with a mid-iron, whether it's with a 50-yard pitch. I think if you're someone who's a better ball striker, it might even be better than the numbers I got. But driver is where I'm ultimately really let down. This is a golf ball that that, you know, X model is supposed to fly off the tee. It's supposed to be amazing, and it could be a forgiveness factor here, but 71st, 68th, and really high spin at 105, just not going to get it done. And, you know, again, there's a couple things you can hang your hat on there, which is nice, but the driver performance is really where, like, it hurts me as an average swinger. Now, some of you who swing 115 mile an hour have emailed me and said, whoa, you love this golf ball. You think it's awesome. So if you're a faster swinger and you're someone who's a Mizuno loyalist, or you play their clubs and you want to try it, having a really fast swing speed with this golf ball could be the key to it being the best golf ball and getting the best performance out of it. Though with the average swing, number 78, we're looking at. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of Volvik. Like I said, I've tested, you know, like I think 12 of the models are on this list in total. So you're going to see them a lot, at least probably one every 10, you know, somewhere in there, average roundabout. But the XT Soft, the reason it gets the highest so far we've seen on the list is because, well, if you look at the numbers, it actually has a phenomenal 50-yard spin. It ranked 5th this year in 50-yard pitch spin, which is great. Then when you get to the pitching wedge spin, again, really nice. Now, the yards wasn't great, but the spin's high, so I'll forgive that. Ball mile per hour, excuse me, is just kind of average, mediocre in the middle. Then when we get to the 7-iron, again, that's not bad. I like all the yellow in there. There's not a lot of red on this golf ball. This is probably the best performing golf ball we've seen out of the top 100 that we've done so far. All those numbers are not fantastic. They're not going to win any awards, but they're kind of in that middle range, which is fine. You know, we're in the high 70s. So these golf balls in tradition have been not the best. This one may not be the best, but at least there is some decent numbers there. Who's that golf ball for? I don't know. I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it to any of you, but if you find one on the course, at least you know you can pick it up and play it. At number 77, we have... Yeah, another one I'm really disappointed that was low on the list, because I love the Maxfli series and I love the Soft Fly. I've recommended it to hundreds of you this year. I think it's a great ball because of its distance control, consistency, accuracy, forgiveness, all that great stuff. Its price, value, awesome. The intangibles are awesome. When it comes to actual performance, though, that's what hurt this golf ball the most, because as an average swinger, I did seem like I was kind of over-compressing it a little bit. This is a golf ball that has a really low 30s, 40s compression number. But look at the numbers. They don't lie. As you can see, 79th in 50-yard spin, 101st in pitching wedge yards. Now, that's what's disappointing. With these softer golf balls, I expect the pitching wedge to really perform well. That's where I expect these golf balls to shine. As you can see, nowhere near shining. Actually, quite the opposite, buried in the mud. 82nd, 82nd, that's pretty funny on the 7-iron, both back-to-back. And then driver, you know, again, you got that 93rd, and then driver spin was one of the lowest, which is kind of hilarious. So, you know, a lot of you love this golf ball. I've recommended it. I have not heard much negative feedback when you've come back and tried them. It's one of those golf balls that, yeah, for slower swingers and guys who lose a lot and they're just trying to keep it in the fairway, or maybe you're not losing them, but maybe you just really don't hit the ball that far. Maybe you drive it 200 yards and you're just more of a casual golfer and you don't want to spend a ton. It works, but there are better two-piece golf balls out there, and I think if we continue to watch this list, you're going to see a few really high on the list that you're going to go, well, why wouldn't I just play that? So I like Maxfli, but this year they came out with new models for the straight fly and the soft fly. I wish I'd just seen more. You know what I mean? I felt like it was kind of a step back. 76. Here we have. Again, a little surprised to see it this low, only because, you know, Callaway, the Super Soft, went from being a golf ball that I couldn't stand, I mean hated it with a passion, to, okay, it's all right. You know, yeah, there's something here. And so they keep making improvements with it. It's the highest selling two-piece golf ball in the market by far. My main issue is there are some quality control issues. I've heard about that through the rumor mill, but I've also experienced it firsthand from my testing. When I went out and tested this golf ball, the first one I put down and was doing the 50-yard pitch with, it kept launching above my net, 38, 37, 38 on the angle. and I couldn't figure it out. And so I ended up going and grabbing another one from the sleeve and put it down 29, 28, 29. Took another one, 29, 28, 30, 32. Like that one golf ball, for some reason, just there was something off about it. It didn't sound right. It didn't look. And then a lot of you came forward and said, yeah, that's kind of the big issue. Like, you know, you've read articles. There's been other people who've studied it. I think that Callaway's getting better at that, but there's still some lingering issues, and this golf ball continues to rise in price. I think next year, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure it's going to $27 a dozen. For a two-piece ball, I know that might be the new AAA, you know, line, but is that worth these numbers right here? 106th and 50-yard spin, 44th and pitching wedge. Now, this is a ball that did shine with the pitching wedge. I would expect that out of a really soft golf ball. It had bouncy ball effect. It had explosiveness. But then when you get to the 7-iron, it's very mediocre. There's some red in there. And then, of course, a driver, you're always going to suffer, you know, with an average or fast swing with a super soft type golf ball. So that didn't surprise me. So it kind of did a little bit what it was supposed to. I would have liked to have seen more 50-yard pitch. And you might say, well, Nick, it's a two-piece. There's some two-piece I've tested that got 8,200, 8,400, 8,500, that did top 20, top 15. Being that low is disappointing. At number 75, we're looking at Now, this is a ball that I actually really like a lot. Unfortunately, the numbers haven't always been that great for me, but I think that the improved 2025 model of this golf ball is worth a thumbs up. This is a golf ball that's for faster swingers who still need a two-piece because they're learning the game or they're trying to keep it in play. There's not a lot of golf balls like on the market like that. That's why I really appreciate this ball and what it does. But I don't get great numbers from it. But that's why this channel being a community is so important, because I test this golf ball. I'm just one guy. I look at it and I go, you know, these numbers aren't great, you know, and if you look at them, you know, 104th in spin, that's awful, but pitching wedge yards is great because the spin is so low. It's a true distance ball, no spin, all. But then you get to spin on the 7-iron and it spins a ton, which is kind of hilarious. So a little bit wonky on the results. But there's a lot of, I mean, 104, 114th, 113th, 106th. Driver with spin was really low. Overall, a lot of this there. But I would look at that and go, I wouldn't waste your time with it. But you all came forward and said, oh, well, I have 110 mile an hour swing speed and I actually kind of like them. And then another guy came along, yeah, you know, I swing 120 and I'm a high handicap, but I really do enjoy them. I just swing hard. That's when I can look at it and go, oh, okay, maybe it is for faster swingers. And next year I can test it from a faster swing point and see how it does. But like the last few years, I've needed the community to kind of step up and say, hey, you know, this is what this golf ball does from my perspective, and I use that data. Now we know this golf ball is actually a really good golf ball. You just have to have the right swing speed for it. At number 74, we have another Volvik, yay! This time the Crystal Soft. So Crystal Soft, I mean, again, it just blends in with Volvik. I don't need to say anything else. Here's the numbers. This one actually had really good 50-yard spin. It ranked 10th. The pitching wedge, mediocre, but actually not bad. Average, I'll take that. You know, anything in the yellow's fine. 84th and 7 performance, as you can see. Ball mile per hour, 67th. Spin, really good. Actually, a very high spinning golf ball. And then driver was kind of, again, in the yellow, mediocre. But overall, I mean, there's only one red there, and it's barely in red. Everything else is either green or yellow, so that might actually, that's a really solid performance. This is one of those golf balls where, you know, if you like crystal urethane, if you like the value of it, if you like Volvik for some reason, I don't know why you would, but maybe you do. Maybe you like them. This golf ball is usable if you find it on the course because of those numbers, but there just isn't a lot of, I mean, being great in spin is awesome, but I like to see a little bit of pop with distance occasionally too, but overall not bad. At number 73, we have So this is Snyder's 5-piece model. It is for very fast swingers. So of course, you know, being an average golfer, it's not going to be the best. But I did consider making it my gamer for a while just because I love the feel of it. I love how it came off the club. But what I found out pretty soon was that these numbers kind of matched up with my experience, and I'll show them to you. As you can tell, 50-yard spin, third, one of the best I tested this year, top 3. That's incredible. Distance-wise, because the pitching wedge spin was so phenomenal, the yards went down, which that's okay. I'm fine with that. It's an X model golf ball, no big deal. 7-iron yards, 6th, 7 mile per hour, 9th, amazing. But spin, now all of a sudden we've went down, and it's one of the lowest spinning models with the 7-iron. A little strange. 69th when it comes to driving yards. And of course, when it came to driver spin, that is one of the highest spinning models I've seen this year off the driver. And anytime you have that level of high spin on the driver, of course, you're going to lose some distance. And so overall, not bad. I think this is an excellent golf ball for the right golfer. But what I noticed was when I took it on the course and was playing with it, one of the viewers, Steven, was in town, and we went out and played Cabot. It was a really fun day. I can't believe that's already been a few months, Steven. But when we did that, you know, when I hit the ball right, it really did some great things. But there was a couple holes where I kind of snap hooked just a little. And the ball was on a complete 90 degree this way. And I mean, it punished me. It was out of bounds. I mean, there was times I'd take like an iron out and try to just hit the fairway. And it's still, if you close it a little too much, I was in the trees. And so it's a very sporadic golf ball. It is for a very advanced golfer, and it spins an absolute ton. Number 72. This one will be a surprise. Are you ready? Yeah, this one's really heartbreaking. The Pro Plus was a ball that I wanted to be my gamer at the beginning of this year, and that's what I wanted, was it to be my gamer. I played it exclusively, and I noticed pretty soon I wasn't getting the numbers that I got last year out of it. And, you know, I eventually just kind of gave up on it because I found something else, you know, no disrespect. Vice has always done such a wonderful job of standing out with their limited editions and their, you know, their cool colors. But with the Pro Plus, you know, I retested all the models this year as far as the Air, the Pro Plus. None of them really did the same as they did last year. I don't know if costs have been cut. I don't know if the factory's using less materials. I don't know if Vice told them to use different materials. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what's going on, but it's weird. And the strangest part of it is it's not just me. Last year, I would say 50% of you used a Vice ball. And yeah, Nick, you have 22,000 subscribers. I know. When it came to fan voting, it was like Vice, 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 Legato, Vice, Vice, Legato. You know, it was just all Vice. Everyone played a Vice. But this year, all those same people who played a Vice have now said, you know, Vice is okay, but I found this other golf ball and it's a lot better. Oh, I found the Triad and it works a lot better. Oh, I found this ball, it works a lot better. A lot of you have moved on. Why? What happened? Right? Like, it just feels weird. It feels like something happened. I don't know if, like I said, if costs were cut for some reason. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's beyond disappointing because Vice has dominated the top 10 both years we've done it. To see one this low is shocking, but here are the numbers. 97th in 50-yard spin, one of the bottom tier. And I noticed that. It wanted to launch really low with no backspin. I noticed that on the course too. 63rd in pitching wedge yards, 87th, 109th. Again, a really low spinning golf ball for some reason, one of the lowest. Here's where it really gets bad. The forgiveness was so wishy-washy with the 7-iron. It ended up at 101st, 99th. Spin-wise, not bad. 41st on the 7-iron spin. So, okay, it spun a lot, but man, with no pop off the club, that's a recipe for disaster. But when we get to the driver, that's actually pretty good. 29th, 37th. The spin was way too high. I wish it had been lower. I think the driver performance is really what has always made me love this golf ball. That's still there. That's a top performing golf ball of the year when it comes to driver. But that's it. I mean, 50-yard pitch, no bueno. You know, pitching wedge, yeah, ouch. 7-iron, good luck all over. I know some of you still use this ball and love it. That's fine. If you're an advanced golfer, great. But for me, I moved on. I eventually discovered that when I mishit the golf ball, it really punished me. And even when I did hit it right, I just didn't get as good of numbers as I got with a lot of what you'll see on this list once we get to 30, 20, top 10. Yeah, heartbreaking. At number 71, and this will be funny, considering what we just talked about. But yeah, we have. Yeah, you know it's been a bad year for you for Vice. You know, when you fall below the Nitro Ultimate distance, it's a really rough year. But I will say this: this is why the channel is so great. You can assume whatever you want by the maker, by the type of ball, by the price, where you bought it from. But until you get in there and really test it, you never quite know what you're going to get. And when I went into testing the Nitro Ultimate distance, I thought, let's just get through this. You know, I went out there, put it down. Let's just, you know, as fast as I can, get the numbers, whatever, it doesn't matter. But then I hit it the first time and I went, oh, well, that was crispy. Like, what? And then I hit it again and I went, oh my goodness, okay. And I looked back at the numbers and I was like, it spun how much? 2-piece Walmart distance ball. I don't even know if I'd call it a distance ball. Let's check out the numbers. 14th in 50-yard spin this year. Probably one of the biggest surprises of the year. The Nitro Ultimate distance being a top contender in 50-yard spin. It still baffles my mind, but it's the exact reason that every single golf ball needs to be tested. I never assume anything. I never say, oh, you know, that's not worth testing. That's why. Pitching wedge performance, again, spin is really, really good. Yards and mile per hour, not that great. When we get to 7-iron, that's where the golf ball really shines. 45th, 34th, 51st. That's a solid performance, especially considering this price range. And then when we get to driver, again, not bad. One of the lowest spinning models of the year in the top 27. 48th in total yards. Again, that's, you know, above average. 62nd, you know, that's still a little bit above average. That's probably, again, kind of weird, but that's probably one of the best performances we've seen so far in the top 100 so far. I know we're at the 70 or 71 at this point, but still, for the type of golf ball it is and considering what it is and how much it cost, I was pleasantly surprised. So, not bad. Good job, Nitro. I mean, you know, I tested the Nitro Pulsar Elite last year, and that thing still gives me nightmares. It was so bad. So, to test this one, it was refreshing. It changed my perspective a little bit, and I hope it changed some of your guys's if you saw that review. And if you haven't, you ought to check it out. It was a pretty cool review. That is 80 through 71. Another great list. Now when we get in here in 2 days, when we get into the next one, we're going to start getting even more green, more yellow and green, less red, less 100, less dog water. We're going to start to see some really good performing golf balls. And I think what's really cool is once we get to 50, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that did perform pretty well. And you're like, wait a minute, if that performed really well and it's 50th, what was the 10th ball? 15th, 20th, how good did they perform? You're going to find out very soon. I will see you in just a couple days. Keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time.